Woody Page, Tim Collishaw, Sarah Spain, Clinton Yates. That right there is what I call a sight for sore eyes. What's good, y'all? And hello, America. Did you miss us? Hey, it's not like we missed anything big while we were away. Only the best player in the NBA changing teams again. The best team in the NBA guaranteeing it'll win it all again. And complaints over all-star voting, getting it wrong again. Chris Archer coming with the big facts. Hey, let's go around the horn. It's been a long time. I should have left you. Here we go.
That guy.
It's Around the Horn, the show of competitive banter.
Man, I love that song. Good to be back home on the horn. So look, Papa Reale, he's home with the family for a few weeks. I will be keeping the throne warm for the next couple of weeks. So guys, be gentle. It has been a while.
Welcome back to Wakanda, brother.
It's the first word.
Wait, you were gone?
All right, it's been a week since the king moved his kingdom west to Los Angeles for the next 4 years. You guys have had plenty of time to process LeBron picking the purple and gold over the process. So what jumps out to you most about LeBron jumping to the Lakers? So let's follow LeBron and go east to west. Start us off, Clinton Yates.
What jumped out to me most is the fact that Tyronn Lue was so defensive about LeBron's character. One of the things you heard the most about James when he was in Cleveland is that he controlled everything, nobody liked to deal with him, and nobody wanted to see what it was like to incur his wrath. However, now that he's going to deal with Luke Walton, who he was drafted in the same draft as, Tyronn has nothing bad to say about him, and frankly, I think this relationship is going to work out well. Do I think it's going to be great from a basketball standpoint? Not necessarily in terms of everybody they put together, but they've got a couple of years to work that out down the line. I don't think that the relationship between Walton and James is going to be a problem because James is in the city he wants to be in, and that's Los Angeles.
All right, you're focused on this breakfast meeting that they're supposed to have in Vegas where he's going to give him the lay of the land of what it's like to deal with LeBron. What about you, Sarah? What jumps out to you?
Well, it jumped out to me that they didn't talk at all as LeBron was making his decision to go to L.A. It's not important to you to talk to Luke Walton, give him a heads up, see what he has in mind for the team. Listen, I think at the beginning it's going to work out great because Luke Walton is an easygoing guy. LeBron's going to be happy to be in L.A. Perhaps LeBron even feels as though this first year is a little bit of a warm-up for the good stuff when they get the big-name free agents next offseason, presumably. But I don't want to be around LeBron, and I certainly don't want to be in charge of placating and keeping LeBron happy if things don't go the way he imagined. And when you look at some of the free agent veterans that they've brought in and some of the issues they could have, particularly surrounding not being able to shoot, LeBron wanting to be off the ball more, which is not going to happen once things start to go wrong. You know that. I just worry about how exactly the power structure is going to contain LeBron out in L.A.
Tim?
Yeah, what jumped out to me was how much power LeBron James did not demonstrate in making the move. We all know what it was like 8 years ago. He goes to Miami with Wade and Bosh. Then when he comes back to Cleveland, okay, we're going to turn Wiggins into Love. We're going to do this and that. And this time we even heard right before July 1, LeBron is going to wait for somebody else to make the first move to L.A., and nobody made that move, so he went. And now he's got Rondo and Lance Stevenson and this odd collection of players. But, I think it'll sort itself out. But I think LeBron kind of was left making the decision that this is where I want to go. I hope somebody joins me at some point.
Woody?
Well, Walton's got to reach out to Lou at that breakfast meeting and say, explain to me how you get to the finals with a lousy bunch of players around LeBron. That was an incredible accomplishment. We're talking about
Eastern
a team.
Conference.
You said 2 years, Sarah? I think it's going to take 3 or 4 years with this bunch. Paul George didn't go out there. Kawhi Leonard's not going to end up out there. He always needed, talking about LeBron, he needed a second guy and a third guy, whether it was Wade and Bosh or when he won a championship in Cleveland, it was Irving and Kevin Love. Who's he got out there that's a second choice, a third choice, a fourth choice? That's going to be the problem because at some point he's going to say, really? I like Hollywood. I like my homes. I like my family. I don't like this team whatsoever.
Sarah, you're my first choice to get back in there. What else you got?
Yeah, you know what? He doesn't like losing, and he's not used to it. And that's why I think it's actually a bad move by the Lakers to decide that this first season is add a bunch of one-year vets and hope for next year, because then you got next year when you got new players, you got to adjust them. Then you go into the third year, potentially being fourth or fifth in the West, and you have him on an option year where he could say, this didn't work, I'm out already. So I don't like the idea of wasting a year of LeBron at this age.
Clinton, let's go back to you here. Does this feel like more like LeBron is going to play good quality basketball in his latter years, besides building his brand and his career post-basketball and raising his kids and mentoring his young basketball playing sons and living in Los Angeles? Because he's got to know, hey, it's hard enough to deal with the Warriors when you saw them at the end. You're not getting past them in this conference, even though they got, I think, the third best championship odds.
Exactly. If he was that concerned about getting more rings, he would not have gone to the Western Conference to begin with. I think we're just dealing with a different phase of LeBron James, whose goal might be to potentially win a championship, but it's not the say-all and end-all of him being happy.
Or just get the Lakers back on course and say he wants more the purple and gold. Exactly. All right, the biggest unanswered NBA offseason question is Kawhi's future with the Spurs, or perhaps lack thereof. Tony Parker now is part of San Antonio's past, having signed with the Charlotte Hornets for 2 years. He, of course, reportedly led a players-only meeting imploring the injured Leonard to return to the lineup and called his own thigh injury 100 times worse than Leonard's. Seemingly hundreds of rumors and reports regarding Leonard's preferred destination. Most interesting among them, perhaps Woj saying that Leonard wants the Lakers, while Michael C. Wright is hearing Kawhi doesn't like the idea of being LeBron's sidekick and would rather play for the Clippers. Tim, how do you see the situation playing out?
I see that the headline will change next week, because it always does with Kawhi Leonard. There will be some sort of evolution in this story, but I honestly think his next basketball game will be with the San Antonio Spurs. I know right now it's hard to imagine with all the bad blood and the bad words going back and forth, but at some point someone will convince Kawhi Leonard, you have 1 year left on your contract. You've got to play some for somebody, and that would be San Antonio right now, to show you're still Kawhi Leonard after this injury that caused you to miss 73 games. Then you'll have some trade value, and maybe you'll get moved, or maybe you're going to have to wait a year. But there's no point in just sitting.
Woody?
Well, I think the best thing you could do here, Michael, and you're from that area, the Boston Celtics have a wealth of first-round draft picks.
New Orleans, but
that's where they should make a deal with. As many as four next year, I would just trade him to the Celtics and say, here, you got him. You're in the Eastern Conference. Give me those 4 draft picks, including the one that could be number one
Woody,
overall.
Even if he doesn't want to sign?
If I'm the Spurs.
Even if he doesn't want to sign with Boston long term?
Well, he doesn't have to sign long term. At least they'll get him for a year. And I think after you played with the Celtics, you say, I want to stay here. I mean, I think Irving's going to do that. So in regard to not going to L.A. or staying, I think, Tim, you may have had a little bit of it right. His opening game will be in San Antonio for the other side. He won't be with the San Antonio Spurs. They can't get rid of everybody in the locker room that hated him during the last season, so he's not coming back there. No matter where he goes, he's not staying with the Spurs. They got a total rebuild ahead of them.
Did I just give Kyle Shaw points for stuff he didn't say? I think I did. Okay, yeah, thank you. Keep me honest.
Whoa.
Sarah, go ahead.
You're doing fine.
The thing that I keep coming back to is you have to make a decision if you're another team that's going after Kawhi. Either he's so injured that he couldn't play for 73 games, and now you got to wonder how healthy he is, or he wasn't that injured and he sat for 73 games because he was mad at the team or because he had a disagreement about that injury. Which one of those is worse if you're a team that's looking to acquire him? And as Woody said, great, Boston has the most assets. Do they want to take a guy whose status health-wise is not 100% and who wouldn't want to stay there and be there and give away a bunch of assets to keep him on a rental? I just don't see that there are that many options for some of those teams that have the better assets, which is why it is possible for him to stay with the Spurs. But I think in the end, there's going to be too many ways that they're watching this team fall apart, and they're going to say to themselves, if he's probably going to leave anyway after this year, we're better off getting rid of him, getting some assets, and starting that rebuild now. You've already seen Parker leave. You've already seen other pieces leave. This is a time for the Spurs to say, all right, start fresh.
Clinton, where you at?
I feel like if you're really dealing with a guy who comes out and says, oh, I want to get traded, oh, I want to go to the Lakers, that's all fine and good until somebody says, I don't mind going to the Clippers. Then you know that dude really wants to get out of town. So if you're asking me if he's going to hang around the Spurs complex, I'm saying no, because with all due respect to that franchise, it's a different matter going to the Lakers for the sake of that glitz than it is going to play for the Clippers.
What do you got a last word?
Sure, Michael. I mean, he's got to go to the Eastern Conference. LeBron's no longer there. He has an easier path to get to the finals that way than if he stays with the Spurs.
I don't know that he's worried about that at this point. Also, that Supermax contract might be off the table if he walks away from the Spurs outright. All right, a week later, and it still boggles the mind that Boogie signed with the Warriors for the daggone mid-level exception. Nobody saw this coming. But with no offers coming off the Achilles tear, DeMarcus Cousins called the Warriors and Celtics, and he picked Golden State, who, if they weren't already, is everybody's pick to win a title for the third straight season. 25 All-Star appearances in the Warriors' potential starting lineup. Clinton, is DeMarcus going to Golden State bad news for the rest of the NBA or actually a bad fit?
I don't like this fit at all, and it starts for one reason. The number of playoff games DeMarcus Cousins has been in is the same number he wears on his jersey, and that's 0. Number 2, when it comes to how that offense moves, people don't realize this about DeMarcus Cousins. He led the league in 2016, 2017 in points, in seconds by centers in terms of the ball held. He holds the ball a long time. He shoots the ball a lot. He gets blocked a lot. So I don't know how that fits into the Warriors offense if you're really talking about the basketball, never mind his attitude. I don't have a problem with Cousins. I just don't think this makes sense from a specific flow point on the court.
Way to rain on a 4th championship parade. What you got, Sarah?
My goodness.
Yeah. At this point, we should be giving the Warriors 2 championships next year. That's how obvious it is that they're going to win. There's only one way to up the ante, right? You got to go for 2 in the same year. I think it's a great fit, and even if it isn't, it doesn't matter. The whole point is, if his attitude isn't great, then you sit him on the bench and you hope he doesn't taint some of the other guys that need to be involved. If his attitude is good and his play isn't perfect for you, then you use him in those moments where you want to give a rest to the guys that are out there. He doesn't even need to fit so much as they now have another option for those moments when their guys need to be rested. And we've heard rumors they want to sit Curry for 20 games. They want to sit Klay Thompson for 20 games. They want to get all their stars rested whenever Boogie comes back and whatever level he's at. That just gives them someone with experience and talent that they can insert in there. I think this is only going to help them.
Yeah, Bob Myers is saying they're taking a patient approach and they just really want him ready for the playoffs. Tim?
Yeah, I think it's just a bad look for the rest of the league that nobody else came up with some creative ideas to give a guy who, going into the injury last year, was playing almost at an MVP level. He was having monstrous stats for the Pelicans before he got hurt. So it's going to be a year. Most teams want to tank anyway. Have him sit on your bench for a while. It doesn't matter. It's a shame the Warriors got him. I find it, frankly, depressing.
Cheer up, man. It's okay. Woody, you look like you're itching to get in there. What you got?
Well, I think that people have talked about the commissioners should step in and not allow this. Well, where were the other teams, the Memphises of the world, the Denvers, that could have signed him? I mean, what a brilliant move here. Yes, he's going to be out for approximately a year. That's what happens when you tear the Achilles, and maybe he will never return to greatness. Sarah has never been great athletically since she tore her Achilles heel, but you're not taking much risk at $5 million. And if he just actually can get there by the end of the year, you don't think he's going to give them as much as David West or JaVale McGee? Here's a guy. They have a team with 3 guys that averaged 25 points a game last year. He'll be back. He's a world-class athlete. He'll fit in. He wants to be in the playoffs, Clinton, for once. He's not with Sacramento.
That doesn't mean that you bring the guy in and potentially have him mess up your locker room for the sake of a chance.
Messing up that locker room. The reason nobody called him is because of the Achilles first and foremost. But how many teams could welcome him in and, like Sarah said, not have to worry about the downside? If you're the Warriors, there is no downside to introducing DeMarcus Cousins. All right, I'm going to try not to be the Achilles heel of this show. The next break. There's your horn. Coming up, all-star snubs. Somebody getting $78 million that maybe doesn't deserve it.
The latest NBA buzz surrounding Carmelo, Capella, and Marcus Smart. Plus, inside Tebow's breakout baseball season. Could he be on his way to the bigs? Tony Collins and I will see at 6 Eastern after PTI.
That's kind of like running into your ex at a party. Is that what that's like? Anyway, there's snubs and then there's Snell. Blake Snell, the Rays starter who leads the AL in ERA, is 2nd in wins and 3rd in quality starts. Teammate Chris Archer called Snell being left off the roster a joke on social media, writing, quote, "I hope that next year you, as in the players, take it, as in the voting, a little bit more seriously and put in the due diligence because this is way too important." Buy or sell Archer on Snell's snub, Tim Collishaw.
I'm buying what he said is correct, but I don't think the players did anything wrong. They vote for 5 starters. You write down Severino, Kluber, Sale, Verlander, and Cole. You can't really quibble with those picks. They shouldn't have taken the managers out of the mix. I would have liked A.J. Hinch to be able to make the last 2 or 3 decisions, and he could have got Snell in there.
Sarah?
Yeah, what he said is right. The guys that are in there are absolutely worthy. I think Verlander, in his response to that tweet, was spot on by saying, listen, we still got old mail-in votes. And so when we're voting, it's before he gets a couple more wins. He's got 9 wins, then now he's got 12. It seems like a more egregious snub. They need to get the players on the same token and have them vote with the web right before.
Clinton?
I'm buying it because the players are supposed to be the people we're taking the most seriously. Everybody says the fans just vote for the people that they like. The media just vote for the people that talk to them. If the players, the guys on the field, aren't going to give it the due diligence, we have a larger problem overall.
Speaking of mailing in, Woody? I'm kidding. I love you.
Snub. I think that this is ridiculous. He's going to play in the game anyway. You don't have to have a rule that says every lousy team like the Rangers must have a player in the All-Star game. They don't deserve one.
Way to bring it.
Rangers didn't interfere with this process. They have an outfielder.
All right. Before the Bulls matched the Kings' 4 years, $78 million offer to restricted free agent Zach LaVine, he said, quote, "It appears that Sacramento wants me more than Chicago. Afterwards, I'm happy as hell that I'm going to be able to play for the team that I want to play for." Sarah Spain, this is your team. You buying or selling LaVine here? You wish it wasn't.
Yeah. Can I give up my account? Listen, that's why you don't say anything until the deals are done, because now he has to come with his tail between his legs. This is where I always wanted to be. And listen, if you're the Bulls, you got to match it. I know it's probably not a great contract for a guy who couldn't shoot or play defense last year. You got to hope that the potential is up to what his mouth is saying about himself. But they cannot get free agents to Chicago. That is the biggest problem here. And if you can't get free agents, you got to sign the guys you have.
If the Sacramento Kings want to take a guy off your hands for more money than he's worth, you let the Sacramento Kings do it. The last big-time free agent signing they had was the guy trying to make this signing himself, Vlade Divac. I don't understand how you don't let them go ahead with this.
All right, Woody.
Yeah, it's so awful, Sarah. Oh, they have to sign him. He is a quadruple single waiting to happen in every game. I mean, you said it. Can't play defense, can't shoot, cannot rebound, can't do assists. What is it that he does other than he won a slam dunk contest 4 years ago? You have now just made that Butler trade even worse, and Sacramento's holding a parade today.
Tim? Follow that.
At some point,
Good
the
luck.
statute of limitations on that dunk contest is going to wear out. We keep waiting for. Remember those dunks he made? This guy's going to be a great player. He's a 38% shooter, or at least he was last year. Clinton's right. The Kings gave the Bulls a reprieve, and the Bulls refused to take it.
Hey, look here.
Thanks for all your suggestions of who they should have gotten instead, guys.
Hey, look here. You're worth what somebody will pay you.
Get somebody
Take it from me. World Cup semis kick off tomorrow afternoon. What does Croatia have left for England? Who may be peaking at just the perfect time? Belgium. Silence Neymar in Brazil. Now tasked with keeping Mbappe and France in check. Clinton, who are you buying as your World Cup favorite now?
I'll make this quick on this show. I picked France to win the tournament, so I believe they're still the favorite, but they're going up against Belgium, who I would have otherwise. That being said, at this stage of the tournament, I like to go with who's got the best goalkeeping, and Jordan Pickford right now looks extremely good, so I would call him the favorite, and England bringing the cup home.
Wait a minute. Wait. Hold on. Sorry, let's go blow up the time and do that again. So you pick France.
I picked
who's
France,
been the best
so
team,
they're the favorite.
But then
if
you
I
would go
didn't
with
pick France to begin with,
would be
I would be
picking
picking Belgium. But Belgium is playing France, so I'm staying with them.
Bro.
Outside of all that,
Bro.
I've got England because they got the best goalkeeper right now.
Bro, it's Wakanda forever, but you just picked the fastest way off of today's show. Woody, go ahead.
Yeah, should I be like Clinton and pick all 4 teams? No, I didn't waffle last week. I'm not waffling, Michael. I'm not waffling today. I'm going with Belgium. They have the best 3 offensive players. They've got the guy going to win the Golden Boot. The Belgium is the best.
You're not waffling, you're going with Belgium. Gotcha. Tim, go ahead, bro.
You know, many of us are pulling for England to finally break through, especially those of us who have streets in Sheffield named after us. Not me in particular, but Kalashaw's of a previous generation. But I do think France is still the favorite. As Clinton said, they were the favorite going in. They're still alive. It's got to be France.
Hey, Sarah, just give me a straight answer, please.
Yeah, it's going to be England. It's coming home. Give me all the points back you muted me for Clinton.
All right. Woody Page, A for effort. Good job, good effort. You got to go. Clinton, all you had to do was stick with your original pick. He must not have wanted to be on the show any longer. Showdown's next. All right, showdown number 1, maybe must-see TV, kind of, sort of high-stakes golfing. 69th in the world, Tiger Woods, and 20th ranked Phil Mickelson, reportedly working on a match for $10 million. Tim, you tuning into something like this?
I am, and you're right. It's sort of must-see TV, but the real must-see TV is when they play each other for their own money. Like all the rest of the golfers in the world out there. When you lose, you lose.
Sarah?
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be better if they were using their own money, but it still can be good as is, assuming they don't get too chummy out there. We need to think that they hate each other, that they're both in it to win it. If it's too friendly, it won't be any fun.
I could do without the gimmicks. Who wants to see rich people get richer anyway? Like the idea is for a poor person to get rich, not somebody who's $10 million is pocket change for them anyway. All right, more than likely, whatever you did this weekend was nowhere near as productive as Mark Reynolds. Walk-off homer Friday night, 5 for 5 with 10 RBIs Saturday, makes his first career mound appearance in the 9th on Sunday. So, Sarah, what impressed you most about Reynolds' weekend?
I mean, you got to love when position players pitch, but it has to be the 10 RBI. He only had 14 RBI for the season before that. It's July. You should not be able to almost double your RBI in one game.
What impressed me the most is that he's a Washington National. I didn't know that until Friday, and now I found that out. And then the 10 RBIs. When you see something staggering in a box score, like 18 strikeouts or 10 RBIs, that's what jumps out at you.
All right. We got to give somebody the face time. I think it's going to be Sarah because her game is just as good since the Achilles tear. Hope for DeMarcus Cousins. Go ahead, Sarah.
Thank you. The premiere of Very Cavallari on the E! Network just aired, and all of us Chicagoans who were itching to get away from Jay Cutler when he was throwing 5 picks a game somehow decided to crawl our way back to the television and realize that the rest of the world was suddenly going to see how someone so unlikable could somehow make himself likable. He's the star of the show because he doesn't care what people think, and in reality TV, that's all that matters. He also gave us the catchphrase, I say more buys than highs.
Whew.
Watching.
I'll make it up to you, Tim. I got you more later this week, right?